What's up, folks? Welcome in. It is the Oddsmakers presented by Superbook Sports. Another week ahead of NFL and other action. Yeah, I do wonder sometimes, what are we going to do as a podcast once the National Football League ends? I don't think there's any other sports that are on, right? It's just the NFL all the time.
Does the show continue after the football?
I hope so.
I don't know.
Let me just say this.
Where's Mike Rigg? Is he back in Portugal?
This Christmas season has been rough. So for the Von Tobel's sake, I'm hoping this podcast continues going on after football season. A lot of recovery. Guys, how was the weekend?
That was fine.
Yeah? Nothing notable, nothing crazy to report when it comes to some of this ridiculous action. Anybody get in game on the Minnesota Vikings last Saturday when they were down 33-0?
Yes, very much so.
Not so much the money line, but more the point line. A lot of point line bets. I mean, they were taking 18, 16, 15, and they just kept on pounding in a way. So we thought we were going to do okay. We still thought we were going to win. I mean, even towards the beginning of the fourth quarter, we were going to be just fine. And so that comeback wasn't very good to us. We lost quite a bit on that game.
How high did you get money line wise? What was your highest in-game money line price? Do you guys recall?
I do not recall.
We were both. Can we say this on the show?
Go ahead.
We were both at the Las Vegas Bowl, right, Jay? So we can't. I don't know.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, okay. I was at the Las Vegas Bowl. Some other people were also at the Las Vegas
and actually
Bowl.
more.
I don't know. That was like the worst game ever.
I was going to say, I don't know if you should say that because you get in trouble or because you'd be embarrassed that you went.
I've been in trouble before. It's an email.
That game
very
sucked.
True. It was terrible.
It was so bad.
Terrible.
So I was in the Westgate suite with a few of our VIP players, and they were on their Superbook mobile apps,
Not me.
live betting the Vikings, and nobody was watching the bowl game. They were all watching the Vikings come back. I don't recall how high the money line got, but I can remember guys betting like plus 15.5, plus 16 for good amounts of money. Just a crazy, crazy game.
I was in on Vikings money line in game at plus 170 when they were only down by like 2 or 3 scores.
That's a win. That's a win, man.
I was like, all right, I lost this. That's fine.
Now I'm in.
Yeah. It was fine. I got it early
Easy
though.
win.
It was like the first couple of scores for Indianapolis, and then it blew up, and I was like, oh, this is toast. I'm dead. And then sure enough, came back.
I wanted the game to end in a tie. I thought that would have been funny.
Yeah,
because then the Colts would have they'd be like 4-8-2 or something stupid like that.
Yep, 2 ties.
That would have been really funny.
What's funnier, the comeback for Minnesota and Indianapolis and Jeff Saturday losing in historic fashion yet again, or the cowardly field goal that you guys watched in the Las Vegas Bowl at the end to avoid the shutout?
I don't know. I don't think anybody was still watching at that point.
I was gone by that point. Yeah. I was like, I was going to beat the crowd.
One of the greatest field goals ever kicked.
Yeah.
There were people booed that field goal.
They should, rightfully
They
so.
did. I remember there was a smattering of boos.
Should have been more than a smattering. What's the next level of smattering? It should have been a wave.
I don't even know what smattering means.
I was actually rude. I saw it on TV. We were at a bar by that time, but I was really hoping he'd make it because I knew that would just irritate so many people. Right down the middle. It's good.
Also over the weekend, Lionel Messi is now a World Cup champion. Argentina was your largest liability, correct?
Yes.
I remember that correctly?
Of the teams that could actually win.
Right.
Like the United States was a higher liability.
Your most realistic liability.
Yeah, for sure they were.
Okay.
Right. And we took more. They lost their first game in the group stage, Saudi Arabia, and we moved them to 8-1, and we took more money on Argentina. So it was not good, but it was okay. We had such a good volume on that game, and we had such an awesome crowd in here that morning. This book was when Mbappe scored that second goal to make it 2-2. This place went wild, and from that point on, it was just everyone was just gripped by that game. The drama, that was an awesome match.
It was the best final ever.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
It was incredible. Was France the defending champions?
Yes, they were.
Mm-hmm.
Did they lose their very first game?
No,
group play.
No, it was
no. I'm talking about when they won the championship.
Spain in 2010. They lost their first group stage game. If France lost their first group stage game in 2018, I don't remember that. I don't think so, but I know.
No, I was asking.
Spain lost in 10. I forget who they played, but then they ended up winning the World Cup.
Okay, maybe it was Spain.
John's kind of a soccer historian, as you can tell.
I love soccer. I love the World Cup, and it's really not an exaggeration to say that was the best World Cup final ever. That was the best World Cup final ever. Usually, the final is pretty boring, and it looked like it was going to be boring. It looked like Argentina was going to win 2-0, and it was going to be kind of a forgettable game, and I'm sure Messi would have been fine with that. But obviously what ended up happening was way better.
Messi, the owner now of the most liked Instagram post in the history of the world and of the social media platform. So
More than the Kardashians?
no, actually, you'll never guess what the most liked Instagram post was before Lionel Messi.
I would have said a Kardashian.
Nope, it is actually a single picture of an egg.
Okay.
And it was posted just for the purpose of setting a world record of most Instagram likes. So it had set that record, but now Lionel Messi owns
And
it.
which Kardashian posted that egg?
No, it was just an account called World Record Egg. You can go look it up. It's absolutely tremendous.
That's boring.
Also tremendous and not boring, NFL Week 16. Let's get into it. We start at the top. Bengals at Patriots. Ooh, a good one. Bengals on fire. They have failed to cover just one game since Week 2. They've been all over it. A team that I enjoy wagering on from time to time. You guys here at the Superbook, us, dare I say, 3.5 with a total of 41.5. You got some altered juice here, though. So if you want to take the Patriots, you're laying $1.20. Who wants to take this one?
I don't know. I know that we went to 3.5 at one point. We opened 3.5 down to 3. Now it's a split line. Majority of tickets on the Bengals as expected. Patriots bounced back from that debacle. I don't know.
That was a debacle. That was the other. That was the other big roar
that's
here on
that's
Sunday.
what I thought you were going to bring up. But you brought up the World Cup. That was a roar, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Saw some good TikToks on that one.
There was a lot of confusion after that play. I think a lot of people didn't realize, like,
including the
that
players
was a
involved.
touchdown. The game is now over. I don't know why. Like, I don't understand why New England ran a play there. If they were just going to run the ball, why didn't they just take a knee?
That's the thing. No, you understand running a draw because it's like, all right, there's like a 1% chance he breaks it. Sure, let's just do this and see what happens.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to lateral it
No.
when you're in a tie game.
And
All
I don't.
you do is
And
go
I don't.
down.
I don't blame the coaching staff. That's ridiculous. Like,
Oh, yes,
like,
you do.
No, I don't.
Matt Patricia, John.
So you're going to say to the guys, "Hey guys, remember it's tied.
Yeah.
Don't
And
throw
also,
the ball 30 yards over your head."
So John or
I
Jay,
wouldn't do that.
Jay mentioned the great TikToks and videos. Did you not see the clip of Matt Patricia clapping super hard while the laterals were happening as if he was egging them on to continue?
I don't think Matt Patricia is a high IQ guy.
Right.
I'm just going to throw that out there. But I still, like, if I was a coach, I wouldn't be like, "Hey guys, remember it's a tie game.
I would.
Don't lateral the ball 30 yards away." It's not a basketball game where, like, you might actually remind them in a basketball game because the score changes so frequently. It's a football game.
Got to tell him. Got to be aware of the entire situation.
Matt Patricia, there's got to be something else he can do with his life.
How about be a defensive coordinator, which he originally was?
Yeah.
That might help.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like anyone could be an assistant for Belichick and do well.
I will say, this does not seem to be detracting Patriots bettors, right? Because you're shading this to the 3.5 side at -120. It does look like it's heading in that direction.
Some real sharp money on the Bengals today.
Yeah.
The Bengals definitely getting some sharp support there. So we'll see.
Well, we took some sharp bet. Well, it was 3.5. We took a pretty sizable bet on the Patriots, which it was considered sharp at the time.
Mhm.
So I guess we've got sharps on both sides here.
What? Sharps aren't united on one side every single time?
And, sometimes on Wednesday, they're faking the bets, John.
What?
I know.
Are you telling me that sometimes they'll put in smaller wagers at the beginning of the week just to
Yeah.
move a line and then
Some
come back
people-
on the other side?
Some people do that.
Wow.
That's why our jobs are so difficult.
I assumed all the sharps just met together in one dark room with
Yeah.
hoods on and just discussed what sides they were all betting together.
I would
That would make
definitely
things
use that as
easier, right?
handicapping information, so I can give you the splits. Do I have to say that disclaimer when I give you the splits?
Yeah, what? Go ahead. Give
This
me the
is for
disclaimer.
entertainment purposes only,
Okay.
not for handicapping purposes.
I don't
I
think
know
there's a disclaimer.
there's some people out there that get really
People get
upset
really upset
about
about
that. That's
Yeah.
irrelevant information.
Well,
It's
people.
for entertainment.
It's
That's
supposed
it.
to just
We never
be entertainment.
said to handicap it after 67% of the tickets are on the Bengals.
I did. I'm usually quoted as saying, "Here are the splits and use it to your knowledge. This is very important information. This is
Yes.
how you should be betting."
in all
Oh, so
seriousness,
you're the one that gets all riled up.
for our listeners,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of listeners and bettors out there who do enjoy using these splits as part of a handicapping tool. I would say it is not useful either. I would also say that when you look at them, you have no idea when the bet came in, on what number, all of those things. So for anybody listening to this podcast, I would stress that take that into consideration when you're using
Wow.
these.
The ticket counts are more. They're not important, and they're not nothing to handicap by. But they are more important than the money. The money, like the money percentages, are totally meaningless because you might have one person bet $100,000 on the game,
Mhm.
and now the money is completely out of whack, and it means nothing. So if the ticket counts mean a little tiny bit, I guess the money means nothing.
it also goes back to, and Jay, I think we brought this up on an episode where John wasn't here. The assumption is big bets in terms of money equals sharp, and that doesn't necessarily equate.
Not all the time.
Right.
No. We got to move on. This is a 90-minute show. Let's go.
All right. Wow. Jay moving us on. This is shocking.
He has
right.
another show.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to Giants and Vikings. I mean, I feel like I'm not doing my job. I thought we were having a good conversation. Giants and Vikings. Let's go. Spit it out, Jay. What's going on here? Vikings right now at the Superbook. You can get 4 with a total of 48.
60% of the tickets are on the Vikings. Next.
That's interesting.
Can I say my Giants finally got their 8th win over the win total, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We opened 3.5, now 4.
Okay.
There it is. Sharp money on the Vikings at 3.5. That's what we got.
Okay.
Do the Giants get to bring the officiating crew that they had in Maryland on Sunday night to this game? Because that would be, I think the low number should come down.
No. That's up to 4.
Okay. Obviously not. Not with 60% of the tickets on the Vikings.
Well, also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Twitter was telling us over the weekend the NFL's fixed. So,
oh yeah.
Also, Vegas knows. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys can.
Vegas
give us
I wish we did. That would be awesome.
My favorite was. Can I just say, really? I know you got to get out of here, Jay. My favorite was a couple of weeks ago. The Lions Vikings game where the number moved and everybody was like, Vegas knows. Like, well, Vegas actually opened them up as like 2.5-point underdogs. And the market.
People make mistakes, John.
I'm just saying. When they say Vegas knows, sometimes
they don't know.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
You sure?
No, there's no way. I know those guys. They don't know.
All right, let's get to the important topic of the week. Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
This has been an interesting one because this was at one point Dallas like -1.5, some spots 2. Right now the Superbook 5.5 with a total of 47. Does seem that Jalen Hurts is not going to play, although Nick Sirianni wanted to keep that door open by saying Jalen Hurts is tough. He could come back. I wouldn't put it past him. How are you guys handling this?
We're thinking he's not going to play. It doesn't make any sense.
Why would he play when they're 13-1 and Dallas just lost?
Yeah, they have 6 chances here to win the number 1 seed. They can win one game. Cowboys can lose any one of them. They're the number 1 seed. So he's not going to play. I can't imagine why they would stick him out there. But we were right on it. The guys in the back room. We actually were able to move it off 1.5 before we got hit. But so we do know.
Yeah, but one of the guys that was the one saying he's definitely not going to play recently, that particular guy has been wrong a lot.
Okay.
There's a couple guys.
Isn't that concerning? Like, that is the only – because I don't think he's going to play either. But then when I heard that guy say he's not going to play with a lot of conviction, I was like, oh, maybe he will play.
Who's that guy?
I can't say that.
Okay. Nope. All right.
Let's go to the next game.
Can I ask you really quick?
Do we do the ticket counts?
Did you? The splits?
Yeah.
50-50.
Okay.
Nice.
Can I ask you a serious question here?
Yeah.
So obviously we don't get the news first. The number started moving. What was your guys' what was the moment like when this started moving on the market? Did you guys see all the movement and then take it off? Did you get a play and think that was weird? Let's move this. What was your process like the day the news came down?
You were in the back room at that time,
I
right?
think it was, if I remember correctly, we never closed it. We just moved the number up.
Okay.
Hurts being out. I think we went a little too high, and then the market settled down a little bit.
Okay. I was told Vegas
we were at
knows,
6,
so
right?
We got a size 6. Yeah.
We weren't 6.5. Okay.
I don't remember it being 6.5.
No.
Gardner Minshew is pretty scrappy. And Philadelphia, I don't want to take too much away from Hurts because I think he's had a great season, but they've got all these weapons. They've got a great offensive line. They've got good creative play calling. It's not like they're going to fall apart completely with Minshew in there, I don't think. But this game also just doesn't really mean that much to Philadelphia. So if they did lose, it could be just as much because this game is just not that important to them.
All right, who are they playing week 17, 18?
I think I think they're playing the football
winnable
team.
Games, right? 2 very winnable games. So and they only have to win one time.
The remaining
the
schedule
Giants?
the remaining schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles is Cowboys this weekend, Saints after that at home, Giants at home. Last 3 games.
They can take a pass.
You just got to get one of those. Will you hang back up NFC East odds, or is that a no-go?
I think that's over,
It's
right?
been
It is
gone.
not over.
Yeah.
It is,
not-
if the Eagles lose
that's
out
right.
and the Cowboys win out, they can still win the
Yeah,
NFC East.
I guess if there'd be no reason not to if Dallas wins on Saturday.
All
Yeah,
right. Interesting.
fair point.
I'm here to ask these questions.
No, that's
all
a
right?
good question. That's a good question. That's not as good as the ticket count split stuff,
Okay.
but that's
all right,
good.
All right.
90 minutes.
All right, we move on. Raiders on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2.5 point spread in favor of Pittsburgh. Total of 38.5. How do the Raiders recover? What's going on?
How do they recover?
Oh, no, I shouldn't have said recover. See, you sped me up.
Well, how do the Raiders
What-
recover from the Rams game?
Yeah.
I mean,
Take your time, JVT. All right.
it's easy. The Raiders have had so many losses like that. It's still a good question.
Now, does Franco, we all know Franco passed away.
Franco Harris, running
Franco
back.
Harris.
Steelers,
Yep. He passed away. Was that like a motivational thing for the Steelers side or no? I mean, if someone asked me that today, it's like I obviously said, they're going to feel it. Now, obviously, he has a huge impact on that franchise and that organization, but I don't see how it affects today's players. It'll probably be a little emotional, don't you think?
I'm sure 24-year-old Kenny
Vegas
Pickett
knows.
will be very, very emotional about it.
Okay. I mean, there's some people that have asked me that over the course of today, and I said, well, I don't think so. I think there'll be a little motion going on there, but I don't think it's going to impact the way they play.
All right. And it won't impact the way it's bet either. Seems like kind of a game for the most part, although we do get to see if the Kenny Pickett-led Steelers can do something against the Raiders. Raiders still alive, technically. I think they're still alive, so they have something to fight for. All right, last one, National Football League. Arguably best one of the weekend. Packers on the road against the Dolphins. Superbook number right now. Dolphins, a 4-point favorite with a total of 49.5. Do we believe in the Packers' chances here to make a push for the playoffs? The market does.
I don't.
No?
Not a believer.
Well, they need to do a lot to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they
got to win out
have to
at the
win
very
out.
least. Yep.
Yeah.
A number of things have to happen, right?
I could see them being live in this spot on Sunday. Miami really threw the kitchen sink at Buffalo on Saturday night. It's gonna be tough for them to get off the mat after that loss. That was a great game.
Three in a row.
That was a really great game. Both teams played hard. Green Bay needs this win. Miami needs this win too, though. And Miami's right in the thick of that AFC wildcard race now. The Buffalo's going to win the division, so they really need this game. I don't know. I could see Green Bay surprising them here.
Yeah, Miami is kind of heading down the dangerous path of potentially missing out on the playoffs.
They really are. And it sucks because I really like Mike McDaniel. I think he's great. But it's just going to be tough. Like I said, after that loss to Buffalo, that was a really emotional game, really well-played game. It's tough to get up every week.
I do know there are some that are snagging long odds in the Green Bay Packers doing the Super Bowl.
Well, let's just say they made the playoffs. Because I was talking about this with a friend of mine. They would probably play the Vikings in the first game, and they could absolutely win that game because Minnesota is just not very good. But then they would go in at Philadelphia and then probably at San Francisco. It's too much to believe.
It is. They have changed a little bit. Watson's changed their offense. They're scoring more, but ultimately, that's why they're a long shot. All right. Anything big ticket-wise that has come down as we move on that is worth noting at this point?
A couple of 5-figure wagers here. Vikings -3.5, as we mentioned. Panthers +3.
Okay.
And what was the other? Ravens, maybe? Yeah, Ravens -7.
Okay. I would assume, Ravens right now, you guys are still at 7.
All 5,
Well, we're
healthy
thinking
5-figure bets.
We're thinking Lamar Jackson
Going to play.
could be back for Baltimore. I think that's what I'm pretty sure the guy that made that bet is thinking that.
Did not practice today, so we'll see if that's going to be the case. Ty Huntley also did not practice, so the Ravens on thin ice potentially with their quarterback position. But it does seem that Lamar Jackson is trending back to returning. All right, Super Contest update. We got 2 guys at the top, or gals. Heineken 21, Benny Stroop now tied for the lead, 52.5 out of a possible 75 points. And 1 person at this table in the money in another contest potentially.
Yeah, no, I'm having a run. But I'm looking at the rundown. Much more importantly, you had no selections in the Super Contest.
Yeah, I'm out.
So who cares about what I'm doing? Who cares? Really?
What's the point, John? What's the point?
I know he was talking to you.
Yeah. I'm reading.
Can you enter the Super Contest?
Reading the rundown here.
Another contest.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it. I can't believe I picked Arizona. That was my one loss this week. Cliff Kingsbury, so low energy. And I'm so down on myself for that pick. What a bad pick.
Okay. As we know, Jay's honor is at stake because people harass him in the grocery store about his selection. So
very true.
We know he's got to keep going. Reigning champ Jay, by the way, 3-2 in the Las Vegas Review Journal contest. Oh, I got 3-2. It says 3-2.
No, that's wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See?
Yep. Self-correcting.
Okay, look at that. You could have gotten away with it.
What an honor.
I really felt bad. I'm mad at myself at those 3 picks.
All right. Now, we are starting to get into better bowl game territory. It's still dragging a little bit, though. Mm-hmm. What is the bowl game handle for you guys like individually when we're talking about was it last night, the Boca Raton Bowl between Toledo and Liberty? Thriller.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that occurred.
Yeah, not much. Actually, it was a pretty decent game. It really was.
Were we watching the same game?
I was watching the same. Well, I don't know. The thing was that I thought that was going to go flying over. There was a little bit of rain down there, but I think the total was 51. And if you looked at both offenses, it looked like they were going up and down, but they just couldn't score. They missed out on a couple of fourth down conversions. It stayed under, but I thought it was entertaining for that type of game. But as far as I know, these games have been getting very little attention. They're barely hitting the board, but for a football game, that is. But they should pick up here soon. They're going to pick up right after this weekend. Then we start getting into the really good ones.
Today I learned Jay was really into the Boca Raton Bowl. That was a really good breakdown of what we watched last night.
Did you?
What was that
so
game?
You did watch it.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Who was in that?
Toledo and Liberty. It was a 21-19 final.
Yeah.
Liberty covered.
Didn't even know that it took place.
Coming up this weekend, you have the Armed Forces Bowl, Air Force Baylor. And then on Friday, we get Houston, Louisiana in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl coming up between Wake Forest and Missouri, a classic. And then on Christmas Eve, Middle Tennessee and San Diego State.
Saw some sharp money on Wake today.
Okay.
Wake at -1. So there you go.
That's why we do
There
these
you
things,
go.
right? You just
there you go.
it might be like pulling teeth
I don't-
sometimes, but you know.
But I don't have I don't have the ticket splits though, so
Okay.
I don't know how
That was dead
helpful I
even.
can really be to the these
I
listeners.
was looking at 74% of
74%.
Louisiana.
Oh.
Going back up to that game.
Okay. All right. Before we get out of here,
Yes.
because I know Jay's got something to do. I don't know. He's really pushing us
Getting
here.
paid
Yes,
for
he
it.
does.
I'm getting paid for this too, my friend. Michigan. Let's go to
You
Michigan.
guys are
and
getting
TCU.
paid to do this?
Yeah.
You're kidding me. What are you talking about?
Michigan,
I
TCU,
thought the marketing team just made me do all this stuff.
Georgia, Ohio State. No real updates. Still 7.5, 58.5, and 6.5, 62. But we are approaching a week away. So what does this next week look like from a handle standpoint? Because I'm assuming the vast majority comes in like the 3 days right before the kickoff, right?
That and you're going to get a lot of money line parlays with the two favorites. So they'll start parlaying some of the NFL favorites and the other bowl game favorites in money lines to Michigan and to Georgia. So I think you'll start to see a lot of that here this weekend. This weekend you'll see that.
I mean, I still believe that the game, Michigan game is going to go right back up to 9. And I think Georgia's going to go to 7. We're looking at the general public really haven't got onto these two games yet. It's been trickling in consistently, but as you said, JVT, about 70% of the action, 80% of the action comes in the last 2 or 3 days. And once we get to that point, it's all going to be Georgia and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You guys expecting a big boost with like travel people coming in for New Year's Eve, and then on top of that, betting these things?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, New Year's is is more of a party type of crowd.
They're not coming here like the Super Bowl to bet on the event or March Madness, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's the second game? Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah. And New Year's Eve?
Yeah, that sucks. That's
5
it's like-
p.m.
it's too, and we have to go to like a New Year's party during the Georgia game.
Oh, you have to, huh?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Jeez.
That's no good.
Well,
It's
it
terrible,
says
right?
volunteer mandatory. Yep.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's
Well, I will say, to your point, actually, the game's probably not going to end till like 9 or 9:30 on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, but I actually want to watch that game.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a cool game. I mean, those are the two teams that probably for the last couple of months have been considered the two highest power rated teams. Those two, and then Alabama in the mix there with Ohio State.
Will the party have TVs on?
We did. We had a party during the Final Four last year, and they wheeled in a TV.
Wheeled it.
And we
Per
watched
a request.
Yeah, there was a request.
Was it like one of those TVs strapped to the cart like in junior high?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was very unprofessional by me because I was supposed to be entertaining someone, and I was just watching the
It's
game.
like, how many times can we watch Rudy?
It's a good movie, man.
He was offsides, by
That's
the
good.
way. Just to let you know.
I don't know about that.
It was a half sack, by the way.
Some sharp money starting to show up on Georgia. So
Okay.
Jay mentioned that he thinks the game will go to 7. I think he's probably right about that.
Thanks, Sean.
Some sharp money coming in on the Bulldogs.
Any sharp money or anything showing up on the total? We don't really
Well,
talk
that already
about
came
totals.
in.
But
Yeah, that came in already. What
Okay.
did we open at? 60 and a half?
Yeah.
Now 62? Yeah, that's been hit. I'm going to think that it's going to go back up a little bit or even more. So, what did the Michigan game opened up? 59 and a half came down a bit. Okay. I think that will go back up.
Got it. All right, guys. Let's get Jay out of here. Remember,
Thank you.
if you like what you hear, take a second. Like, rate, review, subscribe. And if you're out and about, make sure you come see us at the Superbook at the Westgate, Las Vegas, or at the Lodge Casino in Blackhawk, Colorado. Be there all weekend showing all the biggest college football and NFL games. And, as always, you can follow us on social at Superbook Sports or at superbook.com. Stay on top of all the latest odds, boosts, and promos. And, no, I'm just playing. We got to get Jay out of here. All right, we'll talk to you next week for the Oddsmakers presented by Superbook Sports.